I am in a sad, maybe angry mood today, so I don't know. The show might not be that great, and I might tell you some truth today that none of us want to hear about finding a job and the job search and your career. And I mean, if I feel this way, don't you deserve to also feel negative about the world? Anyway, my name is Ian Hopfy, and you are watching Ian the HR Pro Live podcast. I'm dangerously unscripted. Today, I don't even have an outline. Um, the truth about the job search. The truth is, rich people don't want you to have a job. Rich people, rich multi billion dollar corporations thrive on the fact that so many people need jobs that they're willing to work for next to nothing. This is the strategy that we as the people, we as the job hunters are up against. How do you, the broke, the jobless, the paycheck to paycheck, only because your spouse manages to keep a job type of person, fight against multi billion dollar corporations that thrive on making sure there's lots of people wanting jobs? Man, dark place we're in right now. Everything is dark. And I don't know the answers. Now, I've spoken in the past about how you, as a job hunter, your job is to search for a job. You're updating your resume, you're writing cover letters for every new job, you are making sure you're using your uh, industry keywords and the lingo and jargon for your industry, right? You're making sure that's in your resume, on your cover letter, right? You're doing this, and you're applying for 3 or more jobs a day because you want to get out a really great cover letter for each job, and that is a daunting task. That's hard. Searching for a job is hard. I mean, take whatever you can to get yourself employed. It's going to be the worst job you've ever had with the worst pay. Even me, I think, well, I'm beyond that. I've got my degree, I've got years of experience, especially leadership experience. I've been on boards, I've been the chairman of multiple boards, and I've helped create something. I've helped direct these teams. And with my HR experience, I know how to keep employees happy. But the billion-dollar corporations don't care. And it's obvious that it's one of their tactics. It's one of their tactics to continue making billions of dollars. Make sure there's lots of poor employees that they can hire and fill their roles, the few they have, for as little money as possible. Oh God. What I feel like I'm screaming out into the darkness. Into some dark void. Yeah, just like my cat meowing over there. I'm screaming out into the darkness and nobody's listening. Right? Like, not you, the job hunter. You're trying your best. Me, the HR person, I'm screaming, do this to make your employees happy. Do this to have a successful business. And they're like, oh, no, short term success is better than long term success. So we would rather cut jobs so that our CEO can make their multi-million-dollar bonuses. Than secure the long term viability of the organization. Small businesses have an advantage, really, because you have the ability as a small business to make your employees happy. For small businesses just need to spin it. I'm a local business. I hire local people. I sell local products, right? The big multinational corporations cannot say any of that. They are not local. They barely hire local people. Because I say barely because they're paying poverty wages. And they're certainly not selling local products because they would have to sell their products for more, right? Like the apple they get from some far off land that is produced and picked in a monoculture, by poorly paid employees, those apples are so cheap. The producer barely makes any money off those apples. So this beautiful, beautiful local apple, even here in Edmonton, we have apple trees all over the city. We have apple farms nearby. And those apples, beautiful, expensive. The multinational corporations can't purchase those because they've got a business structure that says our apple we we can't sell them for that because we need to make a massive margin, right? Like, so local businesses, you have an advantage. You have an advantage to be the local hero, hire the local employees. I mean, the mom and pop shop, you don't have to operate like you're trying to grow fast and grow big like some multinational. You're just trying to make an income for yourselves. How do you compete? How do you compete small businesses? I don't even know how to tell small businesses that. So why do I have any input on how an employee should be searching for a job? I've been there. I've read the hundreds of resumes. I can tell you there's certain resumes that I throw in the bin right away because they look like crap. Um, you can, when you've read as many resumes as I have, you can tell when a person might be a problem within your organization. You can just tell. And I've turned down some resumes and being overridden by my supervisor or manager. And we ended up hiring that person. And they became trouble. Some organizations are just willing to hire the trouble because the trouble is the type of employee they want in their management roles. So I'm telling you to be trouble. Turn your resume into a trouble resume? Not necessarily. But I'm telling you to make sure you talk about the real information of how you operate in your job, in your workplace. I'm not saying the bullshit. I'm a hard worker. I mean, if anyone listening has I'm a hard worker or I'm a dedicated worker, like written just like that on your resume, I mean, you're not going to get it. Maybe you should stop listening to me, or maybe you should get rid of that line. There's no way for you to prove the line that says, I'm a hard, dedicated worker, or I'm a trustworthy worker. There's no way for you to prove that in just a list of skills. There's no way. I mean, that being said, the inexperienced manager is going to look at this and be totally dumbfounded and say, oh, yeah, there's an honest person. There's a hard worker because he says he's a hard worker. If you get a job because the stupid manager hired you because you said you're a hard worker, that's a red flag. That person doesn't know how to manage. That company is going to implode on itself. You're going to have to go searching for another job in the next 3 months anyway. Sorry, angry Ian. Haven't enough tea. Haven't gotten the endorphins from the tea to make my brain happy. So everybody calm down. Everybody calm down and have another drink of tea. My lips are dry. Mouth is dry. Tea's a good temperature. So what can we do? I'm screaming in the back of my head that everyone who doesn't have a job right now should start a part-time business today. But my consulting business is so up and down. I have a good client, and then I have no client for 6 months. I have a good client, then I have no client. It is a roller coaster of hell when it comes to a small business like me as a consultant. And I don't know why, excuse me, my business isn't growing better. I got no idea. No idea. I try everything. I keep trying. I keep trying. Nothing's clicking. Nothing's working. So why do I want you to start a business? Your side hustle, your something, your anything. I don't know. Add something current to your resume. That's what it's going to do. I'm a skip driver. Put that on your resume. Put things like I'm a defensive driver and I have to be careful and all that good stuff. It's something. I mean, hell, if you only pick up one shift a week, you're still currently a skip driver, right? The old adage, it's easier to get a job if you have a job. Nepotism. Nepotism is king. Ask everybody you know if they have a job for you or know anyone who's hiring. Don't be scared. Your close friends, yeah, they know you're broke and they know you're not working. So swallow your pride and ask them, hey, you guys got something for me? I need something, anything. I put up, when we first moved into our house, I had to purchase all kinds of tools and um, things for the house, you know, hammers, screws, drills, um, wheelbarrows, there's just all kinds of stuff. And I decided I'm going to put myself on one of them, one of those apps where you do odd jobs for people, right? My first odd job was installing like two lights for somebody. They wanted me to put their new light up in their kitchen, and then that old kitchen light, they wanted it in one of their bedrooms. I'm a big fat guy on a ladder, and my arms are up in the air for like an hour trying to get these two things done. That was the end of my Mr. Fix It um, work. My arms hurt so bad for like a week afterwards. I don't think I can physically handle a fast food or retail job anymore because I got to be on my feet. Got to be on my feet. I used to work video stores and gas stations and um, heck, I was a security guard at a nightclub for a while. All I did was stand. I was there 4 to 6 hours. All I did was stand. Could I stand for that right now? Probably not. So, what kind of job am I looking for? Right? I don't know. And what kind of job are you looking for? Try to figure out that minimum. What am I trying to say here? Minimum viable job you can do to get you from your full time job being searching for a job to your full time job being some crappy job, and now your part time job is searching for a better job, right? What's that? What's that crappy job? What's that minimum viable job you can do? It means taking a step back. It means swallowing your pride, possibly demeaning yourself, right? Um, I'm not saying go start an OnlyFans, but I mean that might be viable. The only problem with OnlyFans is now you've become a marketer. You're not you're creating content and you're posting the content, but it's not about the OnlyFans business, whether it's, full on you know what or just feet pictures, right? Whatever your OnlyFans business is, that's not the business you're in. You're in a marketing business. I'm an HR consultant trying to do HR consulting work. What's my business? Marketing. I'm a marketer. I am creating content like this. I'm trying to create value. The trolls don't appreciate my value and think I'm a complete piece of shit, right? Despite sharing everything I know, there's always somebody who's going to come back and say, you're a piece of shit. So, what's that minimum viable job you can do? Going back to your roots, going back to your youth. What's that job that you know you can do? It might be a little tough now, right? Physically, you might be a little older. I know most of the people that watch my content is like um, 30 to 45 years old or something like that. I know we're all getting old, man. So, what's that minimum viable job you can get right now, right away? Think about the nearest business to your house. Can you walk over there and see if they need somebody? What's the nearest business to my house? Right across the road, I have a bar. I've done security in nightclubs before. Could I be a bouncer at the bar? It's dangerous. There are medical offices in that same strip mall. Excuse me. I have done a ton of administrative work, especially for the federal government. My first real job that was not part of the family business, working the family laundromat. My first real job outside of that, I was a unit clerk for a hospital. I was an administrative assistant. That was my real first job. So, can I go all to these medical offices that are right, basically across the road? Can I go to all of them and say, hey, got some admin work for me? They're going to pay me 15 to 20 bucks an hour, more than minimum wage. Prove I got a job if I wanted a job, right? Are there other businesses that are close by, right? This is your minimum viable job. Something you know you can do. It's a complete crap piece of shit job that's the last place you want to be. But is that what you need to do? I am half a step above needing to do this because I have possible 4 contracts, from 2 different organizations. 2 types of training with one organization, training and consulting work with another organization. But these are like every couple months. It's not a weekly income. It's not a monthly income. It is things I do training for 1 to 3 days every 2 months. I might get the occasional contract to help, and that happens. I don't know. What's that? What is that going to heat up to? I've been told this new contract might happen in January, and I'll be doing some training in February. Right? What do I do now before Christmas? If we celebrated Christmas, I don't celebrate Christmas. How do I get the presents? How do I make the family happy? Right? Do I at least work for some organization that's going to give me Clark Griswold Jelly of the Month Club bonus, right? Am I going to get at least that? No, I'm not even getting that. So, minimum viable job. I hate giving that advice. It will be easier to get a job that you want in your industry if you have any other job. I've seen this on people's resumes. They were wait staff at a restaurant for like 2 years. During that time, they were getting their degree. As soon as they were done their degree, they've got junior so and so at some organization, right? They had a job and they had some education that they just got, so they were able to get into them entry level spots. Now, what if you don't have advanced education? Doesn't mean you can't get a job. It means you might not be able to get the best job you want, but you might have a lot of experience still. And that ability to swallow your pride, stop riding on your high horse. That's what I was told once. Get off your high horse. Maybe I'm still on my high horse. Maybe. Maybe. So, do some footwork. Every business that's close by, do the old school. I say do the old school. Anything that you think you could walk to every day, go throw a resume at them. That's old school. Some people, some organizations, they really respect the old school. So we spend a lot of time using the new school. I'm applying for Indeed jobs. I'm applying for LinkedIn jobs. I'm applying for Workopolis jobs. Wherever you go for your job, you're applying online. You're doing it quick. You don't really know anybody or see anybody. Doing it old school is one step away from the nepotism. Now imagine it's a business that you currently go to all the time. They know you. The employees know you. You've occasionally spoken to the manager and they know that you're in the neighborhood. Now you're throwing a resume at them. That's one step away from nepotism. I mean, you're not going out with drinks to the owner, or, you're not doing the game nights with the owner of the local business right next door. Man, job searches are insane, and it feels like it's getting worse. And there's two sides to a business, to an organization. There's the internal current costs. They are finite. You will only spend this much ever because you're budgeting, right? This is finite. So what do you do to cover this cost, right? Big organizations, multi-billion-dollar organizations, they seem to think they will make more money if they reduce their budget, reduce their cost at this end. This is finite. At some point, when you reduce this too much, your business, your organization will implode. And it just will not be viable because you've taken too much away. On the other side is the let's make more money side. Let's make more revenue. Let's improve our revenue side. It's got nothing to do with anything on the back end other than we might need more support to create more money out this end. And you always got to make sure if you're going to spend money on this side, that that expense is creating more revenue. Whether it's 50 bucks more or $1 million more, it's still worth it. Right? So does it really make sense for an organization to reduce costs when they should be concentrating on creating more revenue? Like, have you actually managed to saturate the market that you're not going to make any more sales ever, or at least not a larger amount of sales? You have a set amount of sales. That's all you're ever going to do? Ever? So you got to reduce your costs, your expenses? I mean, maybe it's really slow growth. It's still growth. Maybe you're still making money. You're just not growing your revenue. I mean, that's still good for business. Get that job. Get that minimum viable job. Work your butt off to get a better job. Consider training or workshops or certificates that might help you get a different job. Sad here on Career Day. How do we advance our careers? I mean, if you currently have a job, what are you doing? You're taking lateral jobs so that you learn more within the department, within the organization. You're taking lateral jobs. You might even take a demotion into a different role so that you can learn that role, that department. And it makes you more important. Too often we think, this is my job, I'm an expert in this job. The organization, they can't fire me because I'm the best at this particular job. So what's better, you who are an expert in one role, or a different employee who has the ability to do 5 or 6 different roles because they've made those lateral moves? They've spent time in all these different roles. Who is really more valuable? If you got a career, make yourself truly more valuable. Learn everything within the organization. It might seem like you're cutting off your career or slowing down your career progression, but what you're doing is learning. You're learning more about the organization. You're learning about all the different roles so that when you come back to your current role or a similar role, you have that accumulated knowledge that really makes you more valuable. Instead of just that one person who knows only one job, right? Is that on my hair? I don't know. I don't know why some of these organizations are laying people off instead of being creative and moving people into other roles. When I give advice to small businesses, I always say, hire a person that's generating revenue for you first, then worry about the back end, right? You don't want to keep yourself in a sales position or a client-facing position. You want to hire someone to do that role and try to get them to at least 75% of what you do. So maybe you hire a second person. So you have 2 people that you've duplicated yourself, both of them at 75%, and you are doing the back end work, right? You now have freed yourself up from working in the business so that you can work on the business, right? And that's what I try to help my um, small business clients, right? You want a strategy for building your business? You replicate what you do to generate revenue first. So if you find yourself in an organization where someone's saying, we're spending too much money, we're not making enough money, we're thinking of layoffs, and you're in the back end, you're administrative assistant, you're accounting clerk, turn around and say, I would like to learn sales. I would like to be customer facing. I volunteer to change my shift so that the business can stay open a couple more hours every night, right? Like, the idea is if you want to help your current organization become that person that creates the extra money, the extra revenue, right? They got a sales team of 5 people and they're saying, oh, we're not making enough money. Volunteer to start working in the sales department. I'm a terrible salesperson. I've got to stop saying that. Maybe I'm an excellent salesperson. I think the negative because I've spent a lot of years trying to build this business of mine and I can't. I have picked up these contracts, the training contacts recently, and that may become enough money for me to say I will continue with the business. But it's still quite feast and famine. I might be leveling it out a little bit by having more opportunities happening. Instead of this massive Himalayan situation, I am a little bit higher and maybe I'm like this, right? I'm still got spikes. I got a little more control, stability. But in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, I'm going to apply for a good job. If I see a good job, I'm still going to apply for it. Absolutely. I basically bought myself time to be a little bit picky with a job. I'm at that crossways. Either my business is going to start working a little better, or I've got more time to be picky about a full-time job I might get. Right? So I'm still on the job hunt. I'm still searching for a good job. What do you do if you got no job? Find that minimum viable job. A piece of crap job you absolutely don't want. I should have done this years ago, and I couldn't even think of these tips 10 years ago, right? I couldn't think of this stuff. It made no sense to me. I had too much pride still. And it was like, well, I'm educated. Got my degree now. I firmly believe anybody who's got a degree, any degree, should be making at least $65,000 a year. That should be your starting wage. Entry level position for someone who just got their degree, 65,000 at least. You pay less than that, you don't deserve someone with a degree. If you got 10, 20 years experience in the job force, yeah, you should be well above that too. I don't know what else to say. I'm in a very negative mood today. I want to see everyone succeed. I want you to get a job. I want you to advance your career. I want you to write that perfect resume that's going to hit all the check boxes and get you that interview so that you can really impress them in that interview. But I also want you to be sneaky. Go around the back door and find the job opportunities. Use your nepotism skills. Friends, families, who's got a job? Who's got a job? You know me, get me in there. Like I see people, I see friends and family on like Facebook, and they're like, well, guess we're not going to have a Christmas because I lost my job. And I'm just dying on the inside. I'm like, oh, if only I had some sort of job that I could offer them, right? I wish I could do that. You know what would be so beautiful if I was to start a business and just put a post on Facebook and say, hey, friends and family, if you're in Edmonton, I will hire you, no questions asked, for this new business that I've started. Right? Oh, can you imagine that? The good you could do for your extended family members. Being Indigenous, I have a very large extended family in northern Alberta. I mean, why wouldn't I do that? As a business owner, my first option should be which one of my friends and family and extended family do I want to come work with me or for me, right? That should be my first. Nepotism should be the go-to for all small businesses, right? Let's get cousin John in here. Let's get Auntie Faye working. Like let's pull everybody in here. Uh, you know, my nephew needs a job. Yeah, come work for me, right? Like just you should be pulling in that family. It should be nepotism makes the world go round. But instead, we think we need to hire the best of the best of the best and then choose the most narcissistic person, right? Keep your resume simple, standard layout. Don't put columns, don't put weird boxes. Avoid just general lists of stuff. Put all that lists of stuff, skills and experience, put that into the actual job experience, right? Keep it simple. Because if you're like me, an HR person who looks at possibly 500 resumes in one day, if you send me a resume that looks just too fancy, my eyes, my eyes are tired. I don't have time for your bullshit. I am just saying no. And then the next one that comes up that's in this stupid standard format doesn't look impressive at all. I'm saying yes. Right? You got to think about the condition of the person who's looking at your resume. They're under pressure to try to hire someone. They have 6 to 10 seconds to say yes or no on a resume. They don't even go deep into it. It's their second time through all those resumes that they spend more time and start rating the resumes, right? And you add in the automated systems. If you're not using the right language, a person doesn't even see your resume, man, right? I'm going to put a job ad up on Indeed and I'm going to say these couple things are absolutely required and the rest of these are must-haves. If you don't have those absolutely needed things, it's a no. Maybe you just said it differently than the word I was using. You missed out because you didn't use the proper jargon, the industry language. The next step is the ones that passed that first step. I'm going to say I'm only looking at the ones that got 60% or better with my must-have list. Right? So you better have answered those questions or addressed those issues. The must-have skills section of the job description, you need to make sure you cover those and talk about those, whether on your cover letter or your resume. They need to be covered. And then I'm going to say yes or no. I've whittled it down from 1,000 to 500, and I'm only taking the top 40% of those 500, and I'm only saying yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. So I've whittled it down to 100. Now I'm gauging. I'm doing experience, medium experience, least experience, and I'm going through all those. And based on the stacks, I might say least experience. No. Now I've whittled it down to 20 resumes, right? Now I'm spending a lot of time looking through each of these and really deciding. And I need to narrow it down to 10 or less. 10 or less. And then I'm possibly doing quick phone interviews for those 10. And that's where you need to shine to get past. That's kind of like the second last step. If you can do that quick phone interview, it's usually about half hour, 15 minutes, half hour. You can get through that and move on to the main interview. Like there's a lot. It's a lot of levels. There's a lot of work an HR person or the recruiter or the hiring manager has to go through. Now imagine if you were Molly who lives around the corner and you always come to this business and they know who you are. They know who your parents are. They see you at church. They see you at community events. Molly, go get that job. This is terrible advice. This is on the edge, end stage capitalism work advice. It's terrible. How can you run an organization and sell something, product or service, when the people you're trying to sell your product or service to are all poor, have a high unemployment rate, are getting paid poverty wages, so there has to be 10 people living in this one house together so they all have enough money to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. How do you expect to sell your premium product to this group of people? Job hunt, career advice. I don't know, man. It's hard. Really hard out there. This economy, I hate saying, oh, it's the economy. I hate saying that. It's not the economy. It's the a-holes running the big corporations. Because all they're caring about is trying to get their bonuses and trying to create financial value for the shareholders, the stockholders, the people that own the company, whether it's a privately owned business owned by some investor groups or it's a public company and they've got 1 million shares out there, right? The goal of the organization is to make those people money. That's a completely different goal than the mom and pop shop that's in your neighborhood. Completely different. The mom and pop shop is trying to make enough money so they can pay themselves and pay their employees, right? They're making steady money. The big multi-billion-dollar corporations, they're trying to reach infinite growth and monopoly, right? I mean, if you corner the market as a monopoly, your infinite growth stops. You can't grow anymore unless the population grows and that population has money to spend. So backing yourself into a monopoly, I would say, is stupid. Stupid. Someone's chatting. My sister. My sister says, "This is my second Christmas without a traditional job. Now to go taxi my cousin." Yeah, see, she's doing what she can, make ends meet. I haven't had a real job in 6 years. And then for some bizarre reason, the whole HR department was laid off. What the shit? I honestly think there was some political issues with that. Because it was a business owned by my First Nations government. And I think someone on Chief and Council just didn't like me. Even though I'm related to everyone on council. Why would you fight your own people? Why would you put your own people down? Yeah, let's cut costs before we get creative and make more money. That's backwards. That's backwards. Anyway, I'm in a dark place. I mean, you could always ask your questions. Sorry, I didn't put on a little ask your question ticker. If you want me to review your resume, give you a little bit of tips, that link is on my link tree. You can find it here. It's one of my Fiverr gigs. I will review your resume and give you tips that'll help you improve your resume. Everybody's resume is different, and there might be something that I can help you with. Use this QR code or use this QR code up in the top corner of the screen. And that will get you to all my links. I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody have a good job. I want me to succeed. I want me to have a good business. How can we help each other, eh? Let me know. Let me know if there's something I can help you with. I probably can't help you, but I might. Who knows? I give you a word of support. Yay, good job. Maybe that. Anyway,